Hello, everybody. An amazing day in the markets. Pretty unbelievable what's happened. Let's look at maybe before we jump in, a couple of very quick little charts before we jump into the face-off. I thought about not doing the face-off, but you guys have wanted this one for a long time. So work still needs to be done despite the markets going completely bombastic. Let me try pull up my screen and share this with you all. Bear with me. Let me see. Where is it? I can't even find it. Hold on. Juggling. Alrighty. We don't want to see myself here, but this is the actual chart of today because it's quite dramatic exactly what happened. So let's look at Solana. Let's go year to date. 4 giggles. 549%. Massive. It was actually a lot higher. Solana hit $67 today. It was up over 20% at one stage. Let's look at Avalanche year to date because we're talking about Avalanche and Fantom. That is up 86% year to date. And Fantom's only up 64% year to date. So you could argue that these things are lagging, not doing 5 or 6x in the year so far. And let's also maybe look at Bitcoin if we have it here. Yeah, Bitcoin just screeching away, and we are up. Let's do year to date in Bitcoin, 127.34%. And again, Bitcoin hit 37,000, nearly 37,900 today, and it's strong. And things are wonderful and beautiful. And I want to thank you all for being here. So let's get back down to work. So the story today is to compare these two, see which one has the most potential, and see which one could potentially rival Solana in the future. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare each one against each other, determine which one I would invest in, if at all, and see how each one compares to Solana at the very end, because that is the consensus trade. But maybe there could be a surprise here. So let's go and figure things out. Let me see. There we are. I'm looking for my slides. Too many things. Okay, let me see. Pop that up. There it is. All right, now I can see my slides. So let's go. And again, all I do here is pure data. It removes any bias, it removes any emotion, and I'm ruthless in how we weigh things against each other. And that helps us identify winners. So let's go. And none of this is financial advice. And don't forget, there is nowhere on the planet that you will see data and analysis like you will see here today, or anywhere as well. So subscribe if you want to get smarter and amplify your intelligence. Thank you, Dogwan, and thank you, Daniela in Australia, up early. And don't forget to subscribe. We'll add the playlist here. I've done tons of these already, but you can see I've compared many different assets to each other to see which wins. And these analyses actually work really well. So it helps you determine as well, if you hold one asset, should you be in another one? That's the million-dollar question. Also, we'll be comparing layer ones today. Both Fantom and Avalanche are layer ones, and they are used by developers to build applications such as dApps on their chains. And that brings in users and that generates fees. And that's why we look. So I'm going to jump straight into what I call math engine time. Shout out to the team that makes a lot of this possible. There is an awful lot of work behind the engines that bring this data to you in real time, refreshed, in some cases every hour, or at least every day in most cases. And we have somebody in New Zealand too. Thank you for coming, Wiggle Puppy. All right, I'm going to start with the beginning. We're going to compare lots and lots of different things. I'm going to go really fast, and I'll summarize it all at the very end. But we'll start with Nakamoto coefficient. And you can see here the Nakamoto coefficient for Avalanche is 25. That for Fantom is only 3. And Avalanche, of course, is a top 10 decentralized protocol. It even has a better Nakamoto coefficient than Ethereum, believe it or not. And it wins here against Fantom. So, first score, Avalanche. Second is technology capability. And I have never, after doing all of these, I've never seen a tech tie where literally they are both the same. They both have the same TPS. They both have the same finality. They both have the same block time. Unbelievable. So they both get a point on this one. And it shows you how hard it is to sometimes assess these things. Let's go to daily transactions. And you can see here daily transactions, 257,000 for Avalanche and 199,000 for Fantom. So the winning delta is 30% in the favor of Avalanche. Well done, Avalanche, again. But sometimes I like to look at history as well to see where they've come from. So this is the transaction history for Fantom in blue, Avalanche in red, and you can see half of the time there have been more transactions on Fantom than Avalanche. So you could argue this is a tie, but I'll give it, because they're very strict on data, to Avalanche in this regard as well. But you can see the big spike on Avalanche C-Chain as well back in September too. So a moving target. Let's look at daily active users, also very important. This is super close, but again, Avalanche wins by 11%, 35,000 versus 32,000. But let's see how that has developed over time. And you can see here, they are so close. Again, half the time, one chain has more active users than the other. So this is like turning out to be a really close race. And we've just begun. So let's look at daily transactions over daily active users. That is how active a user is. And again, super similar. Avalanche average user does about 7 transactions a day versus 6 for Fantom. So again, Avalanche gets the edge here. And I know we have a poll going on in the chat too, so I'm interested to see what you guys think. I hope I'm not letting the so-called cat out of the bag too early. Let's look at average transaction fees for each transaction, and it's about 13.2 cents for Avalanche and about 0.009 cents for Fantom. So the winning delta by about 1,300% is Fantom. So I give the delta here because the chain that will win over time is the one that has the cheapest transactions. And even though 13 cents is cheap, you will never be able to onboard 1 billion users spending 13 cents a transaction. It's simply too expensive compared to competing chains. So from that perspective, I give Fantom the edge. Also, total fees, though, is kind of pivots to that as well, because a chain does need to generate a lot of fees to keep the lights on and survive. And here, Avalanche have 34,000 a day in fees, and Fantom just shy of 2,000. So Avalanche smashes it here, and another point for Avalanche. Let's go to weekly developers. 75 weekly developers versus 15 for Fantom. Avalanche wins by a winning delta of 400%. So pretty stunning how the difference is there. Let's look, and remember as well, you have to take into account the size of the market cap of the chain and how much money they have to slosh around. One of the things about Fantom is they do have a reserve bank that's going to fund them for the next 10 years, which is another little edge for Fantom. So we'll compare all of these statistics to fully diluted market cap in a minute. Let's look at development activity. Again, 200 versus 22 for weekly core commits and weekly subsystem developers, 26 versus 6. Again, Avalanche gets it. Higher is better. Well done. Let's look at circulating supply. This one I do focus on a lot. You can see the circulating supply for Avalanche is only 49%, whereas for Fantom it's 88%. That means Fantom wins by a winning delta of 79%. If there's a low percentage in circulation, that means it's going to rain down tokens for a long time to come. And we don't like that because that brings about price suppression as well. Let's look at some ratios to fully diluted market cap. The first one is TVL. Here, Fantom has $16.75 of market cap for every dollar of TVL, and Avalanche is $21. So lower is better. Fantom wins. Let's look at fully diluted market cap over developers. Fantom has 68 million, of market cap per developer, which is a lot, by the way. That is a lot. But Avalanche have even more, $181 million in market cap per developer, and lower is better. Therefore, Fantom wins that one too. Let's look at fully diluted market cap over daily transactions, and that is $5,000 per transaction for Fantom versus $52,000, $53,000 for Avalanche. Fantom crushes it here. That is a lot more potential for the chain going forward. You don't want something with a lot of market cap per transaction that just doesn't make any economic sense whatsoever. Let's look at fully diluted market cap over daily active users. $32,000 of fully diluted market cap per daily user for Fantom versus $381,000 for Avalanche. This tells me Avalanche is expensive per user. Using traditional metrics, comparing that to like the Facebooks of the world and other players, that's a lot. Let's look at other ratios. This is ratio of the market cap as a percentage of ETH. And on the left, we have circulating market cap. That's 0.38 for Fantom versus 2.52 for Avalanche, and for fully diluted, 5.7% for Avalanche versus 0.43 for Fantom. Fantom crushes it here on both circulating and fully diluted market cap. Well done, Fantom. Let's look at TVL. You can see here, Avalanche smashes it by a factor of nearly 10. 639 million of TVL for Avalanche versus 61 million for Fantom. And a lot of the TVL as well is from things like stablecoins and things like that on Avalanche, which is a lot more mature. Let's look at DEX volume as well. Avalanche again crushes it, 139 million versus just shy of 6 million for Fantom. Again, a 23 times margin, a big win there. So these chains are similar, but yet in some circumstances extremely different. Let's look at Stablecoin Market Cap here. I told you it was big, 1.156 billion for Avalanche versus 338 million for Fantom. Again, a 2.4x margin for Avalanche in this regard. Higher is better. Also, distance from all-time high. This is kind of an interesting one. It's kind of part of what I believe, if the chain is alive, and how much upside can it have to get back to its all-time high. So, for example, Fantom is 91% from its all-time high today. Avalanche is 87% from its all-time high today. Therefore, if both hit their all-time highs, Fantom has more upside. As an investment, and that's the way I look at all of these things, I take ratios and ratios. I look at data and I determine which one is better value. Think of this as like a crypto value investor assessment. Now, let's look at the price charts to Avalanche. You can see here, this is on the new ATR model. It isn't even at level 1 yet, but it is growing fast, and that's good, and that's very, very positive. So let's look at the Fantom chart. It is almost identical. You can overlay these on each other, and literally they look the same. They're following each other almost identically, which is kind of stunning. So to get to the truth of where we're looking at, we have to look at the pair. And that's what we're going to do right now. This is Avalanche divided by Fantom, the pair choice. And this is going back to the top of the last bull market. And you can see here, the Fantom outperforms Avalanche by about 30 or 40%. Can't remember the exact number, but it's beating it. So it's held up better during the bear, despite being further away from the all-time high. And this is just on the pair chart alone. So the nod here goes to Fantom. Now let's look at ecosystems. The Avalanche ecosystem, extremely robust. They have everything: Oracle, storage, wallets, trading, DEXs, marketplaces, stablecoins, privacy, bridges, liquidity, launchpads, DAOs, etc. Very robust. They've got a little bit of everything. Let's look at the Fantom ecosystem. They have NFTs, memes, and gaming. They have wallets, infrastructure, oracles, data, privacy, launchpads, stablecoins, bridges, payments, and a lot of DeFi. But that DeFi is not getting adopted yet. But the potential is maybe for it there as we go forward. So we'll watch that space carefully. I would give them both a tie on ecosystems. They're both very robust. But if you like DeFi, Fantom is the one. Let's look at social media engagement. I don't put too much weight on this, but just Twitter followers. You can see Fantom has 500,000 versus Avalanche 962,000. Again, the win goes to Avalanche. Now, let's talk about one other thing. This is the SCP profiler, where we take many, many data points and we score them across technology capabilities, development activity, user adoption, and growth opportunity. And it's interesting because Fantom has more growth opportunity than Avalanche, but Avalanche has more user adoption, slight edge there. Where Fantom really falls down is development activity, and the technology capability is kind of similar, ever so slight edge to Fantom here, but therefore Avalanche edges Fantom here on the SCP technology rankings. And next, let's look at the composite score as well from the Crypto Compendium. This is interesting. Here, Fantom edges out Avalanche on the Crypto Compendium. 26, 29, lower is better in this regard. So well done, Fantom. Again, it may sound like, oh, we've just gone through very little data, but behind this, you wouldn't believe how much data there is. A ton. And I summarize it all for you. And if you're short on time as well, every day we have a newsletter. It's about 10 cents a newsletter, and you can listen to the podcast every email too if you spend a lot of time in the car or at the gym and you can't look at a screen. So that'd be good money well spent, and that's from our community writers, so shout out to them. Let's jump into the conclusion now. Before I jump into the conclusion, I wonder what the poll says. Avalanche 60%, Fantom 40%. So the audience thinks Avalanche won. I love that. Let's have a look at the results. So again, score everything based on data. And here, it was a tight race. Nakamoto, Avalanche wins. Tech capability, it's a draw. Daily fees, Avalanche wins. The chart, the technicals, the upside, Fantom, I give it the edge, especially because of the pair. Daily transactions, daily users, daily transactions of daily active users, Avalanche wins. But it is super, super, super close across those three. Average fee, it has to be low. Fantom wins that. Developers, Avalanche wins that, but it's a much bigger chain. Circulating supply, FTMC over daily transactions, FTMC over daily active users, FTMC over developers, FTMC over TVL. Fantom wins everything. TVL, Avalanche wins. DEX volume, Avalanche wins. Stablecoin, Avalanche wins. And then distance all-time high, FTMC as a percentage of ETH, and the Compendium score, Fantom wins. Can't make this stuff up, folks. It is 10 to 11. Super close, the closest one I have ever done. So, one other thing before I get to the final trophy is the ETH market cap dominance percentage justified? So we just saw how close these two chains are across scores of dimensions. But the fully diluted market cap of Avalanche is 5.7% that of ETH. And remember when I was banging the table on Solana, I said the Solana is at 4% of the market cap of ETH. I said, this is ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, you can see where this is now. That's just Avalanche. Solana has now risen. So having this type of analysis makes a lot of sense. Fantom is only 0.43% of the market cap of ETH on a fully diluted market cap basis. Therefore, 12.2x potential more upside for Fantom. This is huge. If you are betting money over the next 2 to 3 years, assuming the chain can continue to get adoption and grow and find out a niche, maybe in DeFi or something else, Fantom has more upside as an investor, I believe, based on all that analysis. Of course, you can take all of these dimensions yourself and weigh them yourselves and create your own composite score. Now, the other question that I get a lot is, okay, which one of these is going to kill Solana? Guess which one? I think you guys may know the answer if you know this channel. So this is just a cursory view of technology, block time, etc., etc., etc. You can see Solana beats them both. There are ties and finality, but the rest, Solana is the clear winner. So will either of these chains beat Solana? No, not based on my data. So hope you like that show, everybody. Congratulations, Fantom. It's cheaper and almost as good. A lot cheaper, I should say, and almost as good as Avalanche. And Avalanche has a terrible compendium score in relation to Fantom. So thank you so much to everyone on Patreon. I even brought a Patreon mug today. Appreciate you all for coming. And hit the like on the way out. And I'll see you all later tomorrow. And let's check on the market, actually. 37.6 for Bitcoin. Not bad. And everything's going well. So thank you all. And yeah, a lot of questions. What is Solana going to do? It's already way beyond my wildest expectations. This thing is completely bonkers. But what are you going to do, ladies and gentlemen? We just hang tight. We have our bags packed. We had a beautiful, well, it was a brutal bear market. But remember, billions are made in the bear. Okay, you notice Bully's been there for months now. Thank you all for coming. Over 2,000 of you lovely people watching it face off. Hit the like on the way out. Appreciate you all. And see you tomorrow. And a big thank you as well to the development team that makes this possible. This is why we can crush it in data. Okay? Thank you. Bye-bye.